you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Welcome into First Pitch Friday's show. We're going over 4 games, MLB best bets at the end. Guys, I am Drew Martin, your host. We got Bryan Leonard and Dave Koken of WagerTalk.com. Hopefully get you some winners on today's card. First up here, Dave Koken, looking good on a Friday. Dave, welcome in, buddy. How you feeling?
Well, I would have been in a little better frame of mind if I hadn't had one go the other way last night. I've had a lot of games this season where I played the first 5, and it really worked out well because either the total that I won or the side that I won ended up losing in 9 innings. And it's always a nice feeling when that happens. But it's the flip side of it. Last night, I took the under first 5 on the Indians-Mariners game, stayed under for the full game, went and actually pushed on the 4 for the first 5, but lost for those who had 3.5. I officially graded it as a loss because I thought the consensus line was more 3.5 than 4 when I posted it, so I took it as a loss. Not unhappy about the selection itself, though, because the game did play out the way I thought it would for the most part, and we'll see if we can go get him tonight. I did have 2 games posted for tonight, but there was a pitching change in one of them, so I'm down to 1 play tonight. We'll see if we can get that one home.
All right, check it out, guys. Experts page, Dave Koken at WagerTalk.com. And next up here, Bryan Leonard, number 1 at WagerTalk over the last 4 years in MLB. Bryan, happy Friday to you.
Yes, happy Friday to everybody. And I'm impressed by Dave's shirt. I love that shirt. I'm going to have to ask him where he got it from. It's impressive. I, too, was involved in that game that he was talking about, but I hate Cleveland. I got off to a nice 4-0 lead. For about the first 4 innings, none of the balls were hit on the ground.
No.
So I had a feeling that Cleveland was going to get lucky on one of those fly balls, and they got a couple home runs. But had that 4-0 lead and almost threw a no-hitter. Went all the way into the 8th inning. And then I had to sweat it out as Class A walks the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 9th. And they had to bring in
Bryan Shaw.
Bryan Shaw, who is the only guy I know that has more uniforms than Tokyo Brandon.
Ah.
He's been around the league a long time, but he's always pitched well for the Indians, and he cleared them out last night, and I'm very thankful for that. And both Dave and I had Boston as our free play winner yesterday, and no sweat winner there, so looking to build on that today.
I want to mention, by the way, if you think managers don't make a difference, we saw last night, now that's a game that if Francona doesn't make the change, I think the Indians might well have lost that baseball game because Class A, he completely lost the strike zone. Most managers are extremely reluctant to pull the closer until they've already blown the game. And Francona didn't hesitate last night. He got Class A out of there and brought in Bryan Shaw, who I don't know when the last time Bryan Shaw had a save opportunity was. He's not really a closer. That was a great move by Francona. That doesn't show up in the box score, and if you look at the standings, you can't tell that was Francona that probably won the game for Cleveland. But to me, you give the 2 saves in last night's game, one officially to Bryan Shaw, the other to Francona. That was excellent managing.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on something before we go back to Drew. The reason why I thought they brought him in was because in the 8th inning, he was up when it started. All this started. And Class A mowed the first 2 down, 2 fly balls, no time whatsoever. So they didn't have anybody in the bullpen. So they really couldn't get Karinchak up there or anybody else. They had one guy who was somewhat warmed up, and that's why he came in. So if anybody's looking to pick up saves for Bryan Shaw at this point, I don't think from a fantasy perspective that's going to happen.
I want to throw one quickie in here. Speaking of that, is it going to – I shouldn't say this on the air because we're in the same league, but is there going to be a race – to maybe grab Michael Fulmer from the Tigers, who I think is going to be available? I think Fulmer might end up being in the – it might not happen overnight, but I think he could end up being the closer for Detroit. He really looks like he fits that role. He throws a 96, 98. You really only need 2 pitches, as a closer. I think it's time to give up on him, returning to his old form as a starting pitcher, and don't waste him in the bullpen as a middle reliever. He probably should be the closer for that team. He got the save yesterday. You might see more of that moving forward out of Fulmer for Detroit. And by the way, the Tigers swept the Royals. Good for them.
Yeah. So you think he takes the job from Soto? Soto hasn't been that bad, has he, Dave?
He hasn't been that good either. And I think Fulmer has that closer profile because he does have the big arm. He just can't command four pitches anymore, which he used to be able to do as a starting pitcher before he got hurt. So why not, if a guy becomes a 1 or 2 pitch pitcher, make the most use of him if those are still good pitches. And his fastball is still really good. To me, you make him the 9th inning guy. He's a better pitcher than Soto. So, I mean, what's Soto's upside? Limited.
Yeah, fair enough. Good fantasy talk there, guys. And a closer, some people in fantasy baseball, they're thinking, the Tigers, one of the worst teams. Why would I want their closer? Actually, because they win 1-run games more when they do win. So that's a benefit of having a closer on not one of the better, offensive teams in MLB. So it all works itself full circle here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the fantasy talk. We'll get into the gambling part here. 4 games, best bets. Shout out to the chat box, which is live right now. Jessica, Abby, both on the Avs last night, cashing there. We got Big Wave Dave and Chance in the house. Thanks for joining us, guys. Let us know where you're watching from in the chat box on YouTube. Feel free to chime in what you're looking to bet as well. We'll get it out here to the watchers. Guys, we got first game up on the East Coast here. The Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers, not fully on the East Coast. Looks like a little NL East, NL Central matchup here. 8:10 Eastern start here, Dave. Starting off with you, we got Drew Smiley and Adrian Hauser going for the Brewers. Looks like the Brewers now as high as -125 favorites. Total of 8 here, Dave. You liking anything with the Braves and Brewers tonight? Dave, I think we got you on a little bit of a mute or maybe a little bit of tech problem there. But Bryan, what about you, man? We got a total of 8, -1.25 here. Looks like the Brewers are now at home. You liking anything Atlanta and Milwaukee?
Yeah, I believe the line's a little bit low from a total standpoint. You take a look at 3 of the last 4 games when Atlanta's come to Milwaukee, we're seeing double-digit scores. And I'm not overly excited about either one of these pitchers. They've both been too inconsistent. Is there a problem on my end?
No,
we're good, Bryan.
Okay. But I think the total's a little bit low here. I kind of like the over. And when you take a look at Atlanta versus righties, it's a lot better team hitting wise than they are versus lefties. And Milwaukee's actually hit lefties pretty well this year. So I kind of like the over in this game. Both teams have pretty good offenses, although they've struggled at times. But talent-wise, I think this game can go over the total.
All right, Bryan. And Dave, coming back to you, I mean, talking about Hauser here, he did have 10 strikeouts and no walks his last time out, 70% use of his sinker. There was a good article about him on Fangraphs, which makes me want to bet Milwaukee. We've also seen a push here towards Milwaukee, Dave. Do you agree with it?
I can see it because the Brewers, while they're not a good offensive team, have been better against lefties this year than righties, and they're facing a lefty tonight. What I had started to say before, I guess my mic cut out, was that there's an old adage in baseball that you can't win a pennant in April or May, but you can lose them. The Braves are lucky they're in the NL East, where nobody is pulled away, because they're a big disappointment so far this season. The offense outside of Acuna, who's been amazing, has been a disappointment. The bullpen has been just downright bad and was again yesterday. Will Smith, who's a solid closer, absolutely had nothing yesterday. And their bullpen right now, I think it's ranked 25th out of 30 teams in the major leagues. And it's not good. So they've got troubles right now, and they're not a team I'd be eager to back at this point. I think Bryan makes a good case that I'll kind of agree with, that maybe this is a game where, I mean, I'm hesitant to play overs in Milwaukee games because they're really not a good offense, but they're facing an ordinary left-hander in Smiley. I think the Braves offense has a good chance to wake up against Hauser. This looks like a game where you might get some runs.
All right, Dave, hey, let's come back to you again here with the second game. We got the Oakland A's and the Minnesota Twins, 8:10 Eastern start. Looks like we have 10-mile-an-hour crosswinds here, 61 degrees is the forecast in Minnesota. Shoemaker in Montez. I'm liking the Oakland A's here, Dave. What are you thinking, A's and Twins tonight?
Well, it's not that I like Oakland, but I sure don't like Minnesota. They got the worst record in the major leagues now. It's just a disaster for this team. And keep on mentioning the same problems. They're basically only getting production out of a couple of guys. The bottom of the order has been terrible. I made a crack on Twitter a couple of days ago that pound for pound, Miguel Sano is the worst player in Major League Baseball. And he is. He's just an out-of-shape stiff who looks like he's on a golf course, quite frankly, because he's taking this golf swing and everything, and he strikes out half the time. Get him out of the lineup. He is absolutely killing them right now because he keeps on leaving guys on base, getting completely unproductive at bats. The team's unraveling at this point. I don't think there's any way I can bet Minnesota here. I don't think it's a great spot for Oakland coming out of a good series against the Red Sox. They did lose the finale and having to travel. Minnesota kind of in desperate straits. I think the pitching is close here. I'm not a Montes guy. I've mentioned that many times that Montes is a guy I try and avoid because he's terribly inconsistent. I don't want Shoemaker either. I can tell you this, the one big difference in this ball game, the Oakland bullpen, they've got different pieces out there that Bob Melvin can maneuver late in games. Minnesota's bullpen sucks. It's absolutely terrible. 27th in Major League Baseball overall this year. A's are nothing for me.
Yeah, Brian, I'm with Dave here. Plus the fact Shoemaker just 3.1 innings his last time out, 5 earned runs and 4 walks. And to tell you the truth, 19-10 strikeout to walk ratio, Brian, that's Shoemaker this season. And it's against Detroit twice, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Seattle. Not exactly murderer's row here of offenses he's faced, and he doesn't have good numbers. I think that they're worse than they're actually posted year to date. That's why I bet Oakland tonight, Brian.
They mentioned Miguel Sano, and I have him on my fantasy team. And as an overweight stiff myself, I agree fully with what David said about him. Is he's hurt my team all season long, and is one of the reasons why I'm not in first place. But I continue to try to work that out. And by the way, the Detroit pitcher, Fulmer, I believe somebody picked up a couple weeks ago. So I had the same thought as you did.
Vegas.
But I like the Minnesota spot here, and I'll tell you why. Shoemaker, the last 2 years, has thrown 56 innings. You're giving up 15 home runs. That can't continue. As bad as he has been the last couple of years on those home runs, it's only a small sample size of 56 innings. He's been very unlucky, the year before. It's funny because in 2019, he threw 28.2 innings. Last year, 28.2, and right now he's at 28. So he'll probably throw 2 outs in this game and then break a leg, and he'll be done for the season. But I think Shoemaker's a little bit better than what he's shown. Dave talked about the way Minnesota's playing. Minnesota, talent-wise, is a whole lot better than what they played. Maybe I'm just slow to react here because this team could turn it around in any second. And I mention this a lot when I see irregularities with extra innings and one-run games. Oakland's 11-3 on the season, which is why they've gotten off to such a great start. The Minnesota Twins is now 3-14 in extra inning and one-run games. I know they've had some problems in the back of the bullpen, but they do have proven talent back there. I happen to like Minnesota here. I think the line is a little bit cheap. Faded Oakland yesterday with Boston, and I'm looking to fade them again today with Minnesota.
A little contrarian here. I like it, Brian. We got Cincinnati and Colorado up next, a mile high, Brian. This is 8:40 time slot Eastern time here. 69 degrees is the forecast here for Denver. Seeing 10.5 as a total, Brian. Still not sure that that's high enough tonight with this pitching matchup. -108 is what I'm seeing. Colorado at home. Wade Miley versus Marquez. And of course, Miley, the numbers are there, but he's off of a no-hitter that has been kind of a fade candidate, Brian. How much do you think that matters? And what do you think in Cincinnati, Colorado tonight?
Yeah, I originally took a look at Cincinnati here, but there was enough things to keep me off of it. Marquez at home, his last start his game score against San Francisco was 7. Give up 8 earned runs in .2 innings. He has not pitched very well this year, although pitching in Colorado obviously is a detriment to anybody. Wade Miley's been very good. You take a look at Wade Miley's starts all season long. He's only had one game in which he's been under the league average of 50 on the game score. Last time out, the no-hitter, 94. That was probably one of the things that kept me off of it. Cincinnati's the better team, but Cincinnati's only 7-11 on the road, and Colorado, as bad as they are on the road, and they are horrendous, and they've always been horrendous, 2-14 this year. They're not bad at home. They're 12-10. They're not a good team. I believe Dave and I both had them to play under season win totals. So it's a Colorado team I don't have a lot of confidence in. And Wade Miley's more of a junk ball pitcher, and junk ball pitchers haven't pitched very well in this air. There was just too many. The pitching matchup to me favored Miley a little bit, and obviously the hitting favors Cincinnati. But there's too many other things. The no-hitter, playing in Colorado, it's just not enough to get me there with Cincinnati. But it was a thought.
Okay. And Dave, when I was introing this, I said the pitching matchup not being there. Marquez hasn't been good. Miley has been good. The only thing, Dave, is he's off of a no-hitter. How much do you factor that into your handicap?
I thought the Reds did a smart thing by moving him back a day. They gave him an extra day off. He normally would have been pitching yesterday, and in fact, they changed pitchers and went to somebody else yesterday. And that was a smart move to give him an extra day. Listen, if it was a younger pitcher, I might say, well, this is a bounce situation. Miley's just one of those guys. He just give him the ball. He goes out there and throws it. He's like a softer tossing version of Lance Lynn. It's just give him the baseball, go to the mound, and he's going to go out there and do his job. A real pro, real bulldog. So to me, the pitching matchup here clearly favors the Reds. You can, if he has a bad game, then I guess I'll use the no-hitter bounce as an excuse. But Miley's in a way better form than Marquez. If you compare the first 2 times through the order OPS, Miley's got a 590 advantage over Marquez, which is enormous. So there's no question on the pitching side that the Reds have to have an edge. Offensively, the Reds haven't been good have not been good on the road. Their their WRC plus on the road for the season is 79, which is pretty bad. But the Rockies' offense hasn't been good any place, quite frankly. And one thing I'll just throw in, I like the fact that the Reds, they got beat last night, but they were down a ton in that game and scored 8 runs in the 8th inning. So they're going to come out of that game feeling a lot better about themselves than they would have had it been like a 13-0 loss. 13-8, not as bad. A little positive momentum coming out of the game. I think the Reds get there tonight. Neither bullpen's trustworthy, so I would look first 5. But this Cincinnati side appeals to me some here.
All right, Dave, we got the nightcap up next. We're talking about the Miami Marlins and the LA Dodgers. 10:10 Eastern, 7:10 Pacific start here in Dodger Stadium. 61 degrees is the forecast. Looks like a total of 7 here, Dave. Dodgers minus 220, as high as minus 230 now. Heavy favorites with Kershaw on the hill going up against Sandy Alcantara for the Fish. You liking anything here? Marlins versus Dodgers in the nightcap, Dave.
Lean under, at least, and I guess you could lean under full game because I think Alcantara and Kershaw probably going 6 or 7 innings in all likelihood here. So you don't have to play the first 5. You can go full game. Miami bullpen continues to be really good. I mean, it's a bunch of no names, but they've got like the 6th best numbers in all of baseball in the bullpen. The Dodgers bullpen hasn't been as good, but I think it will improve as the season goes along. I think they've been a little unfortunate early with some of their bullpen stuff. There's some good pitchers in that bullpen. So to me, under full game seems like a reasonable proposition. It didn't make my card, but it's certainly something I considered.
Yeah, sure, Dave. And I agree with you. Your bullpen handicap there in terms of the Marlins. One of the better bullpens, not a lot of big names. We got Yimi, Floro in the 8-9 spot. It's one of the more underrated bullpens in MLB. Bryan, what are you thinking tonight in the nightcap?
Dave mentioned some of the bad luck the bullpen for the Dodgers have had. They're 1-6 in extra innings, 4-10 overall in one-run games. If you switch a little bit of luck on the Dodgers side, they're basically what we thought they would be before the season. Dodgers they probably got the most talented pitching staff in baseball, even though they continue to lose starters. It's a situation for the Dodgers. They're a better team than what they've shown. But the Miami situation with Alcantara, he hasn't had a game under an average game. He hasn't pitched under an average game score all season long. You know what you're going to get out of him. And how many times do we get a pitcher with these kind of numbers? He's got a 2.72 ERA on the season, and you're getting him at this plus price. As much as the Dodgers are due for a little bit of regression, Miami has some ability here. I don't know if I'll stand in front of the Dodgers with Kershaw on the mound here, but it makes you want to play Miami a little bit here with a little bit of value. Clearly, the value to myself is on Miami. Didn't get there myself, but it's something that you got to take a look at.
All right, Bryan, good breakdown. And Chris, I don't believe we have an Asian baseball play, but if we do, please correct me. Guys, we got best bets coming up. So, yeah, it looks like the line moved too much in the Asian baseball play. So we're going to have to go without it in terms of the late night action on the other side of the world tonight, guys. But again, huge shout out to the chat box. Big Dave Wave, SoCal in the house. Yeah, talking about the fish here at big plus price. Might talk about it again for best bets. Abby, Buck, Chris as well. Thanks for joining us. Please smash the like button if you're liking the content. And if you're watching on replay, feel free to leave a comment below. Time for best bets. Let's start off with Bryan Leonard here, guys. Number one at Wager Talk over the course of the last 4 seasons. Check him out, WagerTalk.com, experts page, Bryan Leonard. Bryan, where are you going for best bets tonight?
I'll touch on that in a second. I do want to say what I have up on the site. It's 2 baseball plays. We haven't talked about either one of them. Actually, we have talked about one, but 2 baseball plays today. And I put up my hockey season first series bets, including a 5% play. Big advantage in one of the series, I believe, and the price is a lot cheaper than what I thought it was going to be. So, well, I guess that tells you there's a favorite. It's a situation where looking forward to the hockey, and it's been something that both Dave and I have had a lot of success in this year. I'm going to pull a Dave Koken here, and I'm going to go for the first 5 innings. St. Louis is traveling to San Diego. Joe Musgrove, the much better known pitcher on the mound. He's coming off of a couple poor starts against San Francisco. Game scores of 41 and 42. His start before that against the Dodgers, 49. So he's been less than average his last 3 times out. I think a lot of people are looking for him just because of his name, but we're looking at a San Diego team that not only is their first game home from the road, they played in Colorado. And we kind of talked about this earlier, whereas a team just coming back from Colorado, I think it messes with your swing a little bit, which is something that I look for in the first 5 innings. Johan Oviedo's going for St. Louis here, a guy who hasn't had a lot of success in the majors. He's only pitched about 38 innings. But I went to StatCast and I took a look at his projected percentile rankings this year. In exit velocity, he hasn't given up very many hard hit balls. He's in the 92 percentile. Hard hit percentage, similar to what I just said, in the 82 percentile. And his whip percentage is in the 96 percentile. That's enough to get me interested in a guy that nobody really knows a whole lot about, going up against a guy who, coming into the season, everybody loved Musgrove. He was the player to get, and he threw a no-hitter this year. So the Padres, actually, St. Louis has the better record, too. The Padres gotten off to a little bit of slow start. So I will take the Cardinals at a nice plus price here in the first 5 innings.
I like it, Bryan. I agree with you. I think Musgrove is a little bit overpriced right now. Looking for a good underdog. Cardinals might be the choice here, guys. We got Dave Koken up next, number 1 at MLB last season at WagerTalk.com. Dave, where are you going for best bets tonight?
Well, I had 2 selections today and had actually packaged them together at a low price, just $19. But Pittsburgh Pirates went out and changed pitchers this morning, and that knocked out one of the plays. I wanted the San Francisco-Pittsburgh first 5 under with Gausman versus Las Vegas Tyler Anderson, who's pitching the best ball of his life. I don't know what happened. I haven't determined that, but the Pirates switched pitchers, and that play became a no play for me. The other game I liked, off the no-hitter or not, I think Wade Miley at this price is a buy against German Marquez and the Rockies. So that's the game that's up on the site right now. Obviously, there's not much point in buying it if you're watching the show right now, because it's the only other play I've got tonight. I'll take the Reds to win the first 5 innings with Wade Miley.
Wade Miley and the Reds,
by the
guys.
way,
That's what
I think it says on the screen Reds. It's supposed to be first 5. That's my mistake. I didn't put F5 on there. So for those of you that are looking at the screen, it says Reds, but it's Reds first 5.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, guys, we'll put up the recap screen here just in a minute. Remember, it's the first 5. And you also get Dave's play here. That's the benefits of watching the show, guys, in the best bet here. You get his client play. We got the Miami Marlins, LA Dodgers. That's my best bet, guys. Got the Miami Marlins plus 185. You can get them as high as plus 190 in the first 5. I'm cutting out the bullpens because the Dodgers bullpen has been pretty good. Also going to shorten it here, looking for that 1-0, 2-1 at the end of the 5th. I think Alcantara here, 2.7 ERA, last time out, 7 innings, 1 earned run, going up against Kershaw. Yes, a Hall of Famer himself, but talked about it on Wager Talk today. I actually think Alcantara is the better pitcher in current form. So get the plus 185 with him on the hill. I'm going that route. Marlins first 5 plus 185. Bryan Leonard Cardinals first 5 plus 155. And Dave Koken Reds in the first 5. Not the full game. So did correct it there. So guys, that's it. The recap for best bets. Hopefully you like the show. Please smash the like button if you did. Huge shout out to the chat box again. And again, feel free to comment below any questions, what you're looking to bet. That all works on the Wager Talk YouTube, just down below this video. So guys, thanks for tuning in, and best of luck with your bets. Have a fun, safe weekend. We will be back on Monday, same time, same place. See you then.
Are you tired of games of the year and 100-unit locks? If so, check out the professional handicappers at WagerTalk.com today. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys. And for a limited time, new users get their first daily picks purchase up to $40 for only $1. $1? Whose idea was that? Johnny Detroit? I guess so. To redeem this special, just go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper and their picks package using coupon code TRYWagerTalk when checking out.